Hi all, back with more Red Storm Dark Blue Defection. Scenario 4, Iron Eagle. This is part 25, I think. So, been getting plenty done recently. I've just been chucking the videos up. I've not been reviewing them, so fingers crossed. Yeah, started setting something up on another table. Went with my decision about Normandy, the beginning and the end with the solo system. But I've just kind of laid a few bits out and wondered about it and thought, oh, I'm going to have to really get into the rules. It's just easier to come here and play. Now, I'm more keyed up on what I'm doing here. So, anyway, okay, some comments. John, probably struggling to catch up now with everything that I'm putting out there, which is understandable. I'm sure he's got a life outside responding to my videos. So this was from part 22. Like I say, this is 25 I think I'm recording, so 22. Right, yeah, a couple of interesting ones here. Seems that I'm still not quite got the AAA situation completely correct. So, I'll get to that one. Now, this is on his phone. He actually comments on that. Well, let's look at that. Let's do them in order. The 5-minute mark. He says, right now I was on my phone, which is less ideal for commenting, I believe. So that's why it's 4 separate comments and they're all stamped in a different way. He says, I believe I was under the mistaken impression you just wanted to land F-15s. This is when I was talking about looking at this airfield and considering, and I added later on that what I was looking for was to use it as a rally point and get the +8. He says, you can use any airfield as a rally point regardless of runway rating and given the 10 hex provision you mentioned. So I don't think there is anything any better than where we were heading anyway, so that's fine. Right, so at the 12-minute 45-second mark, I've just watched this video just back recently, and actually I was going to add, there was a couple of comments I was going to add to it. Actually, I've took note of them. I'll add them in the header at some point, but the videos are out there anyway. So he says, it is any and all mobile AAA that will fire. So both will fire if they can. Now, what I was kind of asking about there was that if we moved adjacent to this 2K22, then we've got an inherent 2K22 in this hex and we've got the 2K22 in that hex. So I was thinking that only one of these would fire because they're both the same. Well, no, they would both fire. So why I got myself thinking that way, I don't know. I think it was just like I felt like you can only have one. What it is where's the bit that tells me? Yeah, let's talk AAA concentrations here. If more than one AAA concentration projects its barrage into the hex, the owning player chooses one concentration only to make the barrage attack. So I think maybe that's where I was getting that from, but that's just AAA concentrations. So if you end up with 2, well, the only way you'd have that if there was some of the light AAA markers about, and maybe you were, well, not quite true, because some of the units in the hex themselves have a, no, that's a different thing, Grant, I think. Is that not a like small arms? Anyway, if we're ever in a position where there's 2 AAA concentrations firing, then it says here that the owning player chooses one to fire. Well, obviously, if you're playing the bot and you've got a medium one and a light one, then clearly you've got to choose the medium. But only one of them would fire. However, it seems clear that now he said mobile AA there as well. I'm assuming that also applies to the radar AA, the fire cans. So if there was more than one of them, they would all fire as well. So, yeah. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. But there's a wee bit more he's going to add to this, obviously, and maybe this had been some of my thinking. But I did clearly ask the question, did clearly say that if we were in there, then I felt only one of the 2K22s would fire. Well, that's not the case, so, well, good to know. Yeah, and in fact, we might be looking ahead towards that soon, shouldn't? Yeah, quite possibly, because this 2K22 is going to fire. Well, hang on though. We got to medium altitude. Has that not got us out of that territory? It has, yeah. Okay, that's good then. So anyway, carrying on this, he says the only good news is that the mobile AAA can only fire once per movement phase. And he says, and each flight is only subject to the inherent SAM AAA zone fire once per movement phase as well. So, okay, right, we checked that inherent twice, didn't we? We checked it in that hex and we checked it there. However, it didn't actually fire, or does that mean it? No, it doesn't mean it fires, eh? Hang on. Yeah, that is it. It is firing, isn't it? When we roll on this table, I might have got that wrong then. When we roll on, well, I'm talking about the inherent. Let's see the inherent. Inherent, a large number. Any flight may only be attacked by this inherent 2K22 capability once per game turn. Only attacked by. So, but I rolled for this twice. Sorry, on that. An inherent 2K22. Once per movement phase. Attack. I shouldn't have done that, should I? Yes, I would have rolled for this. Whenever I spend a movement point around a concentration, you roll for. But that should only been once per movement phase. Just the same as if it had been. See, if we this 2K22 here, if we move in there, it'll fire at us. If we then move from there to there, it's already fired at us. It won't fire again. I think I got that wrong. Now that video is just being uploaded now. So yeah. Now I wonder where, because we took a hit there, didn't we? Now, was it from the AAA concentration, or was it from the inherent rule? I'm not sure. Let me go and look back on that. Okay, just been a way of looking at what happened there, and I actually done it twice. I'm just forgetting that when we roll on this is them firing. Even if we roll less than that, they've still made an attack. That is right, isn't it, Grant? Roll 2 dice. Well, yeah, I'm just looking at resolving flat barrages here, but I think all these are the same. If the barrage roll is a result of changing it, no, that doesn't matter. More than one. If the roll is equal to or greater than the number, the flight is hit. So it is still that is still them attacking, isn't it? It's just if the roll is equal to or greater than the number listed, the target flight is hit. Yeah. Look at inherent SAMs. Any flight may only be attacked by this inherent capability once per game turn. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's right. Mobile AA attacks Well, it's kind of that, and it roll 2 dice in the table using an appropriate column. If the roll is equal to or greater than the number listed fighters hit, and damage should be determined. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sort of say if the roll is less than, but I mean, if the roll is less than, it's just a miss, isn't it? So I think that it still counts as an attack. Yeah, I think. Well, I'm pretty sure I've got that right. However, looking back on things, I done it twice. We moved into this hex. That's where we done the check for the AA concentration, which turned out to be a nothing. We then done the inherent mobile 2K22, which turned out to be a miss as well. Now that should have been the only check we made for that. When we then moved into this hex, we then checked for the AA concentration, which was correct, because every movement point you spend around that area, that will fire. However, I done the check for the 2K22 inherent again. I shouldn't have done it there. And then third time I done it was when we spent a movement point to climb, our last movement point after the bombing run, we spent our last movement point to climb one altitude band, which triggered the AAA concentration fire again, which is correct, I believe. However, I then checked again for the 2K22 because I'm thinking it's not really fired at me, but it has fired, it's just missed. So I think that should have only happened once, and I've done it 3 times. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, each time was a no effect. The first 2 attempts to hit me missed, and then the third one, although we rolled on damage, so it did actually hit. Well, sorry. Yeah, it did actually hit us, but the damage turned out to be no effect because we rolled low enough. So everything as is. There's nothing changed there. So yeah, well, glad I realised that. I've realised that as well, because I'd kind of got that wrong. And it's reading John's comment that triggered it there. He says the only good news is that the mobile A can only fire once per movement phase. So I fired it 3 times. So, and then he finishes with, and each flight is only, and each flight is only subject to the inherent SAM AAA zone fire once per minute phase as well. Okay, right, moving on, good stuff. So another thing I've learned. Right, 39-minute mark. Yeah, this is I'm talking about the fact we suppressed the AA concentration, which I don't see as... The only thing it did do, I'll give it that, the only thing it did do is this modifier. So that to me was the only thing it did do, because... now, hang on, Grant. Stop here. Stop. Because there's maybe another knock-on effect here, isn't there? When I went in there, we done the 2 checks. Now that should have been the only time that the inherent 2K22 fired at me. However, it doesn't matter if it fires and misses. It still gives you the -1 modifier, doesn't it? Yeah, well, I think so. I think it gives that -1 modifier no matter what. Because remember, the -1 that we were getting from the concentration was the one that we suppressed. I still think I would have got that -1 there. You know what? I don't think it would have mattered because it was a terrible dice roll, wasn't it? It was something horrendous. I rolled 5 or something. Did I not have -3 or something to add to it? Just looking back, we were on the 60 plus column. I want to say that it would have been the same result, to be honest. But well, let me know if you understand me there, John. I think I would have still took that -1 in with me. Okay, well, let's read his comment. He says, suppress the AA concentration, still fire. Concentration represent many AA guns, so they cannot be completely silenced. I think I said that that's probably what it is fire coming from everywhere. That said, you have reduced the danger from the 3 shots SLAM will have to take when bombing the airfield. So it's not quite rubbish, but it is not the nullification of the AA you hoped for. This is a bit I mentioned earlier in the last part that I just noticed his comment. And that said, you have reduced the danger from the 3 shots SLAM will have to take. I don't see how that reduces the danger by me suppressing it. Not that. The only thing I could take from that is he's meaning that the SAM was now because it had launched, it wasn't going to attack. We were still getting the AA fire and we're still getting the inherent fires. But I feel like I'm missing what he's meaning there. You have reduced the danger from the 3 shots SLAM will have to take when bombing the airfield. Yeah, I feel like I might be missing something. Let me know about that one, John, because it looks like what you're talking about I'm not quite getting, and that could be important. Okay, well, I'll leave it there. We'll just move on. And then at the 40-minute mark, which is just not long after that, hang on. Yeah, this was me just deciding that, well, I must have said it was pointless. So he says not pointless, but yes, AA concentrations are not able to be destroyed. Okay, fair enough. I would contend it was more fruitful than attacking the SAM with a SEAD attack. Well, yeah, we needed a 9 or a 10 to do in it in the SAM, where at least we done. I feel like I'm still missing something because, like I say, the only benefit I felt like I got out of that was that -2 modifier here. That's why I feel like John's got something else there that I'm not quite getting. Okay. He says, I was probably simplifying things when talking about things earlier. Apologies if this misled you. Suppressing AA concentrations is never worth victory points, but could help a bomb run be more successful. I can understand the loss of that negative modifier, but if you've got inherent fire anyway, it's just giving you that same modifier. But this is what I feel like I might be missing. Anyway, yeah, this was me talking about the fact I'm sure John had said before about I could attack the A. I mean, you can attack it, but I think I was under the impression I was maybe going to destroy it, but you cannot do that. That's never going to happen. So, okay, these things are all good to know anyway. That was the last comment. But if you can find out where feel like I'm missing something there, John, I appreciate it if you can let me know what it is I'm not grasping there. But right, let's move on. Yeah, the couple of notes I was wanting to make about part 22 was well, actually, was that not? That was John's comments there. One was I talked about the Warsaw Pact flight wanting to spend another. I was trying to get in a position. It was doing a BVR. And I was trying to get in a position where it may, because I said that every movement point spent can be a BVR engagement attempt. And obviously, as a human player, I would want to do that. However, I'd forgot that the bot doesn't actually do that. It'll attempt BVR, right? And it'll go through all that. And then if it's successful, it'll resolve an attack after attack. Or if the BVR engagement attempt is unsuccessful, it won't use a movement point and try and engage again. Because I brought this up before. And John gave me some explanation to why that was. That, again, it was probably linked to the fact that they don't really want to... They want to more be involved in standard area. Again, the bot instructions have got to be clear, but to be honest, if it was yourself and you had another movement point, you can move 1 hex closer and fire again and engage again. So I think these are some things that leave this system a little bit, yeah, a little bit out there. So, but anyway, that's how it is. So we would then, if we had movement points left, we would move one hex ahead and turn 90 degrees. And then if movement points still remain, we move straight ahead. Now, I think we did seem to recall us doing that at one point, where we could have probably made a second, try to engage again. I mean, the engagement roll is something like a 9 or something, but you could also end up with, depending on your aggression value, some negative modifiers to that. So it's possible you might not roll that and then have to just move on and not bother. So I was going to put a comment in there saying that obviously the bot wouldn't do that anyway. And yeah, I had to laugh. The other one was, which I might get right, I can't remember where it was. I usually take note of the timestamps, but I didn't bother here. Was the fact that I says, right, I'm remembering now that the SAM can only launch once per turn. And then this was in part 22, and I think I was scratching my head for ages in part 24 about this SAM launch marker being on this and wondering if it could still fire at me again. So yeah, I didn't remember it for that long. I forgot about it again. Anyway, okay. Right, where are we? Well, we've got Cobra Flight left to move, we've got Saint, and we've got our Jamming Flight. So the only one really relevant there is Saint. So yes, and he's got a BVR Avoid on him. It is him that's got that, yeah. So I think that's only one movement point to remove that, if I remember rightly. Flight begins its movement by BVR Avoid, must spend one movement point to remove the marker. Okay. But he's cap now. He's cap. So he does have BVR weapons. Which I think I could go right in here. But do I want to do that? I don't think so. I think I just want to PVR. I don't know. I just feel it's safer. There's less chance of morale messing you up. Now we're going in. His flight has got. It's only got one shot down. Oh, it's got a shot down flight and a damaged flight, I think. Okay, I'm gonna move Saint then, and we're gonna just use the fact that he can now initiate air combat and BVR combat. So he's at medium altitude. Now what's the MiG-29? It's at medium as well. It's on the card. So that's fine. We want to stay at that altitude. Now we do need to roll this engagement roll. Now from the front, his weapons aren't as good. Yeah, see, if I went in air to air, we'd get a bit better bonus to the weapons. Let's just try it at BVR and hopefully we'll learn from our mistakes. Right, so my speed at medium. Now we're a clean flight now. Remember, we're not laden anymore. So our speed is 4. I think 4 is probably fine. Now, what dangers are we moving through there? That's Sam. We're going to have to watch that Sam. That's in that hex, isn't it? Yeah. And what I mean, I understand they can't fire at me this turn, but because it's already launched, but if I end up within 2 hexes of it, well, unless I can climb to high altitude, actually. High altitude gets me out of the way of that. Okay, well, why not do that then, Grant? Well, I don't want to do that until after the BVR because I want to stay at the same altitude as them. Right, okay, I think I'm going to set just normal combat throttle for a speed of 4. Oops. And right, my slight worry was moving into the hex. If I'm moving into that hex with a SAM, it's got something in there, isn't it? Okay, I was a bit baffled there. I was reading page 24, 14.7 additional AAA rules, 14.71 organic small arms barrages. All Warsaw Pact NATO ground units other than SAM EWR units project the small arms flat barrage. I was like, alright, okay, what about SAMs? However, the next rule is 14.72 organic SAM / EWR light AAA. So all EWR units and all non-hidden SAM units, including dummies, project light AAA barrages. The barrage zone only occupies the counter's hex. Organic light AAA is always activated. They are not considered AA concentrations and are never suppressed. However, if their parent unit is destroyed, they are no longer in effect. So they project light AAA, so yeah, see that if I'm at medium altitude in there, I'm going to take that hit. That's what that is there. That's the organic SAM light AAA. So if I was at medium altitude in that hex, they would have a chance. It's a long shot, but it's still a chance. What I mean by that is if I think I might be better. Well, no, I need to spend a movement point first though, don't I? I can't just fire first. Yeah, just in case my engagement fails, I might be better. I can start with a turn. Oh, remember, I'm losing a movement point there as well. Don't suppose that counts as me spending a movement point, does it? Yeah. Well, maybe it might. A flight that begins its movement with a BVR avoid marker must spend one movement point to remove the marker before it expends any other movement points. Ooh. Is that allowed? Could I just remove that BVR avoid marker, knock that down to 3 movement points, and then declare a BVR engagement attempt? Maybe I could. I'm not 100% sure though, and I don't want to just wait for that. So John's been very good about going through all these, and he must get must be getting a bit tired of it now, John. Like commenting on everything that I'm talking about here, because yeah, I have started weaving things in there for you. So, well, you know what? There's nothing I can do about that at all. So, the thing, I'm just wondering about maybe dashing now, though. What fuel? He's got plenty of fuel left, to be honest. Just probably want to get past them and in here somewhere, I think. Come on, Grant, make your mind up. Well, hang on, I might be dashing, but that would take the first movement point would take the BVR avoid marker away. So if I am dashing, that dice will show a 5 rather than a 3. That probably classes as using a movement point, to be honest, and probably allows me to do this engagement check. I feel like the way it's written, it would. Because if I looked up BVR engagement, where are we? Oh, you know what? It says it's I know you've got to spend a movement point to do it, but you can do it multiple times in BVR. Let's just say that is kind of cheating and it's not allowed in. So if I just move into this hex then, that's where the number 3 is. Ugh. Let's say if I move in there, no, I'm not going to have him in my front arc. That's a problem. What I'm not wanting to do is end up on the border of the 2 hexes, because then I believe I would take this light AAA attack. Hang on. Right, I always seem to struggle a bit with this. Right, I'm going to set dash throttle. So with, which would have been a 6, right? Well, I might reserve the right again to change this. So I'm setting dash throttle, which would have been 6, but we'll remove the BVR avoid, so that knocks it to 5. What I'm going to do first is turn just 30 degrees for 1 movement point, take me down to 4, and attempt engagement. Yeah, no, it's a 2, isn't it? I've got the range right this time, haven't I? I was watching back on that stuff when I had to go round the back of the flight and then realised I was 2 hexes away and I needed to be adjacent. So like all that time spent and trying to work it out. Yeah, so from head on, yeah, in this front arc I've got a range of 2, so that would be fine. So I'm going to attempt BVR engagement there. So okay, let's get this looked at. Okay, well we've been through this multiple times, so we should be able to breeze through this now. I still feel like I enjoy maybe, yeah, I don't mind it, but I'll always want to look at these charts as I'm doing it. So I know I said I was not going to show them on the camera and that, but it's just if I've got a space to put this and we can look at it together, it makes it easier for me. I'm going to have to look through it myself anyway. Okay, just checking. Defender detected. Yeah, he is. All the flights. Actually, Cobra's not detected at the moment. But anyway, everybody else is detected. Defender range of attack, undepleted weapon, and just sneaking in the card there. You'll see Saint Flight. You see the green AIM 9M. It's got a +1 to its bonus only. That's a range 2 from the front. You'll see that the depletion levels are 6, so the worry is that this could be them depleted, to be honest. That's why I was wondering about maybe going in air, standard air, but however, we're going this way, right? Yeah, okay. It's not an infrared missile. Oh, it is actually. They are infrared missiles. Infrared BVR weapon has line of sight. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I think it's only the clouds and all that come into it. Unless, of course, the mountains and we're at deck altitude, each other behind it, sort of thing. So everything looks alright there. Look down where we're both at medium altitude. The F-16 does have some look down issues. But because we're both the same altitude, I think we can just move on from that. Attackers, defender, and forward arc. That's the only check to me. The other ones don't apply. Okay, so all good. So we can do this engagement attempt. Now I still have 4 movement points left in case this fails. This is what I was talking about. The fact the bot will only do this at one time and then move on. So aggression value of the F-16 of Saint, is +2. So that's good. And that's the only modifier that apply. So +2, and we need a 9 on the BVR. So here we go. Well, that 9 should do it by itself. Right. Big high roll, 17 +2. So engagement's going to go ahead. So just checking the next steps. We've got maneuver, shot resolution, depletion, damage allocation. Yeah, okay. Okay, so over to maneuver now. Saint. He's got 3 good aircraft and 1 crippled. When did that happen? Not sure. He was just in BVR combat. He must have came through the morale okay then, obviously. Aircraft number 3's got a red. So yeah, I must have rolled well on morale because it's not affected his aggression. I think that was maybe the last attack made by Siskov, maybe. I can't remember. I'm going to have to just go by what's written there. So we've got 3 aircraft that count towards us because the crippled one does not. So this is to find our shot opportunity. So we're looking down the 3 column. There's the BVR side. Now our modifiers are doesn't apply. No. This one applies. +2. He's got +2 for his aggression as well. So good. We're getting a +4. +4, and we're on the 3 aircraft column. Oh, come on. 5 +4 is 9. That's nothing, eh? Damn. Okay. Yeah, 9 or less on the 3 column is a nothing. On the 4 column is a nothing as well. Oh, okay, well that was disappointing. Right, so now we can skip all the rest. I was really hoping to just take Siskov out the equation there and just have the ground targets to sort of worry about the AA and the SAMs. But he's still going to live to fight another day. So we've got 4 movement points still to go. So I'm going to move 1 into there, and then I'm going to turn 30 degrees. 1 and then free turn. So that's me spent 1, and then 2 into there. I've got 2 left. I'm going to spend 1 more to climb to high altitude, I think, just to avoid that SAM now. And then I've got 1 more point. Actually, I think I might have done a free turn there as well. And then final point. Yeah, we're at high. We counted the 1 for high. Final point was as into that hex with a free. Yeah, well, it means you're starting with a turn. Yeah, I'll go with that. And finish on a free 30 degree turn, I suppose. So it finishes me on a max turn as well. Okay. Well, that was a wee bit disappointing, really. Oh, hang on. I forgot to check depletion, haven't I? No, we never got any shots. Yeah. I would have liked to been checking for depletion. Oh dear. Right. Never mind. Okay, that's Saint flight moved. So we've only got Cobra and our jamming flight to go. So let's just move Cobra next. Now he's just trying to get out of there. Yeah, we realised we could have split the flight up and whatever. Right, his markers. Oh, he's got a manoeuvre marker again. Yeah, he was involved again. Yeah, well, no, he took out that flight, didn't he? The Warsaw Pact, what's its name? Zelenko attacked us and came out the worst for it. Okay, so at medium altitude, we would normally have a speed of 4. We cannot dash because we've got a crippled aircraft. Oh, stop. That's clumsy. Saint flight, as we were looking, Minot's got a crippled aircraft. Crippled aircraft are treated the same as damaged aircraft. Set to flight with one or more crippled aircraft may not select dash throttle on future gain turns. Right. Hang on then. Oh, let's just fix this now. Well, I can still do what I was doing. So we would have had 4 movement. We would have had to spend 1, so we would only had 3 movement. We would have been at medium altitude. Damn. And then I want to say it was... No. Yes, maybe. I think that's where it was, wasn't it? So we can't dash. Let's take the max turn off. Can I do what I wanted to do still by doing 1 BVR engage? Then that all went wrong. And then I've got 2 movement points left. 1 with a free turn. I'm not going to get the high altitude unless I go to high altitude in the hex. I kind of want the high altitude though. So I'm going to have done 1 and then 2 into there with a free 30-degree turn. And then I'm going to climb to high altitude in that hex. There. Then again, Silver Fox is sitting here at medium altitude, but so I think that was all that. That goes on top of that. Right, I'll kind of just pretend that's also counting as a finish marker as well. Is that high? I mean, Silver Cisco staring him right the face now, but I think it's better to be at high altitude to avoid the SAM, but I don't know. Right, okay, I'll leave it like that, because I couldn't have set dash throttle because I had a crippled aircraft. Yeah, okay. Right, let's do Cobra now. So he's got a speed of 4. He's got to spend 2 of that, half of that 4 to remove the manoeuvre marker. So he's only got 2 movement. He's going to struggle to get out of here. Well, he shouldn't get attacked now. So, is that medium? Yeah, he's at medium. Well, shouldn't we climb up my high now? We should. So I'll climb up my high and do a free turn. And then my second point, I'll just move him straight ahead. I'll just change the medium marker on his card to high. Hold on though. Yeah, no, he can't dash. Well, but if he's at high, at least he's got a speed of 5 now, rather than 4. So, turn 8, turn 9, and then he's across the side of the front. He's not going to reach rally situations anyway, so that's fine. Okay, let's mark him off then. Well, in actual fact, I can probably... I'm thinking, for you watching on camera, it's all very well me saying that they've got... they're at such and such an altitude and whatever. But when I get more space, I should really bring them back down on the map, because you might not be able to see the card like I can. So, okay. Right, so just the jamming flight. It's a medium. It can make a movement of 3 is the best. Now he's going north this time, isn't he? Yeah, so that's facing that way. So 1, 2, 3, staying at medium, and that stays on facing that way. What's the relevant factors there? This 2K22 and any inherent ones that we reach, maybe. Well, we'll look at that. We'll look at that in a bit. Okay, so that last flight would be marked, moved. Now I noticed this wee 4 dice is actually in the airfield, so it's right in there, isn't it? But I should remember that. It's just there's too much going on in there. Okay, so everything moved. Right, let me clear the markers off everybody. Right, so fuel phase. Put it in card 4 just to keep me right. Fuel phase, right. Who dashed? Nobody? No, one on the card there. So Mike 29 dashed. And that was all. So I'll mark off a fuel point for Cisco if he's still got 2 fuel points left. And yeah, I'll need to watch that fact that having a crippled aircraft in the flight, that just totally caught me there. That must have been recent that we got that result. I just can't seem to recall it because I've done quite a lot of recording over the last 2-3 days. So right, now what else was done in the fuel phase? Yeah, recovery, because we've got Richter flight here, but now he was crippled, and I've just realised that I can track. You know, I was saying I couldn't track like damage and crippled. Well, the results are still on here. So as long as, and then if we roll for recovery and these change, what I would do is, like, we're rolling for this one just now, it's crippled. If for some reason this doesn't recover, I'll change that to a black mark, and that'll show that another aircraft went down, is crashed. Wasn't shot down, but it was crashed. So as long as we've got these, we can count our victory points, because this one's already recovered damage, so that's still 1 victory point for us. The only thing that I can't track on these is the actual pilot. Oh, you know what? I could have blacked that out. No, I can't, because it's each individual aircraft, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Well, I think when I start the next scenario, I'll maybe have a bit of paper that I can jot a couple of things down on. So I'm looking at, it's not bailouts, what is it I'm looking for here? It's on player card 3, recovery, here we go, right. Give a sec. Yeah, so this one there, so this one's a wee bit riskier. This was the Richter flight that we split. So he's got a crippled aircraft, none of the other modifiers apply. So he's got a -7 to this roll, and as long as he gets a 2 or greater, he's fine. And it's 2 dice, so still a good chance of getting out of this, but slightly riskier. Right, 13. Yeah, he's okay, isn't he? 13 -7 is 6, which is greater than or equal to 2, so he's fine. So he's going to come off, and we'll just leave him marked on, like I say, on this card as showing that was his one there, basically. So it's crippled result. So he recovered crippled, but that's still worth 2 points to me as far as I'm seeing. So good. Right, what's next? SAM location, then track phase. Yeah, this is a chance to become undetected, isn't it? So let's roll again. I don't think there's anybody at deck. So let's roll for our guys first on the C column of the track table. Rolled a 6, that might be quite good. Nah, it's just into the curly brackets. So a C, spades and curly brackets. So well, I think Cobra's undetected anyway, but Slam, he's over the wrong side of the front. Silver Fox is a spade as well, actually. I think they need to be at low altitude and on their own side of the front. So not happening. And then Cisco for them, just got that one flight. Reroll in the D column. 14. There's a diamond. Don't tell me. Ah, he's a heart. Good. Ooh, 13 was a heart. Yeah, because we've got Silver Fox staring at him now as well, so. And remember, both of them have turned cap, so. Okay, that's the track phase. SAM acquisition, nothing to do there. Flights roll for disorder recovery. Well, we can have a roll. Oh, actually, no, I don't think we can. Well, that's one I spoke about earlier when I was reading about it. And it did say, hang on, is there a rule for that? Disorder recovery, 1311. Because it says, do not roll for disorder recovery if the flight was attacked by SAM or AAA that turn, engaged in air-to-air combat that turn. Well, I think Cobra engaged in air-to-air combat that turn. Now, my initial looking at that was that that's what caused the disordered state. But it doesn't really say that. It just says do not roll for if the flight was engaged in air-to-air combat that turn. So I'm going to say that we can't. Yeah, it's basically sort of saying you can't sort of sort yourself out until you're out of the, out of the firing line, basically, isn't it? So I don't think we can roll for that, but let me know if I've got that one wrong. Split flights, no. Roll to remove shutdown markers. Well, we don't need to do that anymore. That 2K22 came back on board, didn't it? Remove SAM launch markers. We do have one of them, so that comes away. I think that's it. This will tick down to a 2. And yeah, I think that's all. Parachute and crewman. I know I took that parachute away, but that wasn't. It was just getting in the way. Really, it wasn't going to do anything. Yeah, that's it. So moving on to turn 8. So 8, 9 and 10, but we have dropped our bombs this time now. So nothing really more to do actually. Well, I'd like to have another go at Cisco, I think. But as for other targets, I mean, the SAMs are worth points to us, but with no real weapons, without going to deck and considering strafing them with our guns, which seems to be something I could do, but oh, I've missed a dash marker here. That was our bombers. So we'll take that off. And I'll mark them as having dashed. I mark them off a fuel point. Okay, that's that one. That's the downside to putting them on the cards, I suppose. Yeah, so looks like it's coming to an end. We're on turn 8, 9 and 10. I suppose we might be able to sneak it earlier if we can get our flights away from the danger, and if this Warsaw Pact flight gets to abort or some kind of state that's not going to do anything, then I might be able to sneak off a turn maybe. But maybe not. I might have to stretch to the final turn. Okay, I might as well take a cut there. Hopefully I can get another bit in later, maybe. Just wonder if we might be able to get a completion. I think there's still fiddly bits to get away from there. We're still going to take some grief. What is Slammy? Well, he climbed to medium altitude though. That was good. However, both him and Silver Fox are at medium within range of this SAM. So it's going to fire at one of them. That will be dependent on which one I want to move first, I suppose. Okay, right, I'll be back with the next part sometime soon. Okay, cheers.